SCHiM has 25 trophies including the platinum, and in this video I'm going to tell you how to get the other 24. I'll tell you which ones you'll get naturally and which ones you could use a guide for. The game is quite hard, but it is doable, and it will take a minimum 2 playthroughs. I got the platinum in 16 hours and 48 minutes. I'd recommend just playing the game once and then cleaning it up afterwards, since it will need multiple playthroughs anyway and the game has chapter select. For completing the game you'll get 4 unmissable story trophies. And during the course of the game you'll get trophies for doing things a certain amount of times. The main mechanic of the game is jumping into shadows, so you should get these naturally, and they're easy to farm if you have to. If you jump into a car, you can use square to interact with it and honk the horn. If you jump into a moving car, you'll move with it. If you interact with a bin, litter will fall out. There's also a lot of animals in the game, with a farm level midway through just in case you missed this one. If you jump into water, you'll usually die, but there's a few water-based levels later on, where you'll most likely get this one. When you ping yourself using these signs and don't hit a shadow, you'll slide across the floor. This will happen a lot, so you should get this naturally, but you can farm it in the first level. And throughout the whole game, you'll find these big skims and shadows. I do think this is unmissable since there's so many of them, but I was unsure, so I thought I would point this out anyway. You'll most likely get it in level 8. The next 2 trophies are for interacting with every type of object and checking in at all stations. I don't have a guide for these purely because I don't know exactly what they want you to do and what you need to interact with here, but I managed to interact with every object on my first playthrough. I was consciously going for this one, so basically for the entire game I was just mashing square, and if I saw something new I would go over and interact with it. What's interesting is I got this near the end of the game, however just after I got it I found some new objects. So the objects that are actually required for this trophy might be a bit more broad than it seems, and hopefully it won't be too hard to get if you're focusing on it. And for that same reason I don't have a guide for checking in at every station. However, this is a list of levels that have stations in them, and this is the kind of thing you're looking for. There's 71 collectibles in the game. You'll usually find a lost SCHiM nearby the object you need to find. Once you've found a collectible, you can quit to the menu and it will save. You'll get a trophy for finding all of them, and 1 for finding a specific one in level 5. And I've got a full collectible guide up for every level. There's also 3 level specific trophies. In level 2, you need to use the hose on everything in the garden, and then use square to wave goodbye to everyone. In level 42, you need to score hole-in-one when playing golf. This felt quite random, however just do your best to copy what I've done here. You can see from my failed attempts that you need to get this basically dead on because these were quite close and they didn't count, but it only took me about 10 minutes to get this one. Now once you finish the game you'll unlock this settings menu. With X to the jump on, when you miss a jump, you'll be able to do a hop and save yourself, and this will also allow you to cover larger distances. But with it off, you'll die after 1 jump. You won't need a guide for this one, you just need to play a bit more slowly, but you'll need to play through each level all over again. And the remaining 3 trophies are basically linked together. If you activate risky mode, when you start the game it will take you to the first level, and you have to beat the whole game in just 20 lives. This is quite tough, but with enough practice it becomes very doable, however the game does have some cheap deaths in it, which is annoying. If you want to, there are 2 ways at the moment to make this trophy a bit easier. You can quit at any time and upload your save to the cloud, and then download it if you die. And if you have X to the jump on, if you know you're going to die, you'll have time to restart the level and it won't count as a death. If you need help with these, I've got a video up that will show you how to beat every level in the game without dying. But you do have a decision to make here. Technically it would be faster if you completed risky mode with only 1 jump, but that will obviously make it a lot harder, and you won't be able to restart the levels midway through. I personally just did it on 2 separate playthroughs, but I thought I would mention that they stack just in case you're feeling brave. Now my maths isn't perfect, but there's 65 levels, and by completing the risky mode, you'll have completed at minimum 45-ish levels without dying. So now you just want to go back through all the levels you died on and complete them without dying. Sadly, at the time of posting this video, there's no indicator on each level to know if you've completed it without dying or completed it without the X to the jump. But I've spoke to the devs and they might implement something like that in the future. What I personally did, during my risky mode playthrough, I wrote down every level that I died on, so afterwards I knew exactly what levels I had to do. But because of the way the game works, it's hard to actually know what level is what level, if that makes sense. You'll know when you play the game. So for some reason it didn't pop, and I just had to keep on replaying levels until it did. Some levels are longer than they look, and are split in the middle with a loading screen. There's one level later on that is split in 2, and if you die in the second part and restart, it will take you back to the start of the second part, which means that the trophy won't pop, because you technically didn't complete the full level without dying. I'd also recommend turning off checkpoints in the menu when going for this, just so you know you are actually restarting each level from the start if you die. So for completing every individual level without dying you'll get a trophy, and you'll get another for completing a certain section of levels at the end without dying. If you need help with beating each level in one life, I've got a guide for that, and a collectible guide to help you find the lost SCHiMs. If you're interested, I've also put together a video showing off the whole experience of getting the platinum. And on this channel, I've got loads more videos like that, on a bunch of different games. So I hope this video helped, and if you're new to the channel, subscribe and have a good one.